When I first found Cooking Witch, I almost passed it up because it looked like another Bubble Witch inspired cooking time waster. However, after looking into it a bit, I realized I might have found one of the most surprisingly metal games of 2017 because this game comes with a twist. It's not a typical Halloween twist where you're boiling up some spider soup or some blood broth, but a more infant annihilator approach. That's right, we're cooking us up some children noodle soup in today's casual game review. Cooking Witch is a game by Varget P that operates on a very simple concept. Pick up children and drop them into your cauldron. Once they cook, the cauldron will throw out meat, hearts, which will refill your health, or stars, which will push back time, depending on what type of kid you throw in. However, you have to be careful when you do this, as kids will become scared when they see a witch swoop down and pick up their friends. If they run and hit the bell enough times, they'll bring out up to 3 daddies. The daddies will run after you and try to shoot you down with their shotguns, and you'll be forced to either skirt past them or knock them out by dropping a kid on them and maybe adding them to your cauldron. At the start, you can only pick up one kid at a time, and your low health self will struggle to carry them on, but once you get enough meat and unlock the proper challenges, you can upgrade your broom to go faster and grab more kids to add some efficiency to your Albert Fish fantasy. You can also upgrade your strength, stamina, and health to further aid you along your journey. If you want to earn meat faster, you can also upgrade your cauldron to drop more meat per child to make sure you stay full and focused. To say this game is an interesting concept is an understatement. I honestly don't think there's another game out there that lets you abduct children and cook them into a stew. At the same time, there's not many games that can take such offensive of a concept and handle it this tactfully. Usually when games try to be edgy, they go all out and do so in the most heavy-handed way possible. However, aside from the sounds of pumpkin-headed children crying as you fly them to their doom, it's really hard to tell that you're cooking children. For most games this size, I really don't expect to play them very long. There's something about this level of indie games that attract this extremely simple, boring gameplay that wears off before the first hour. However, I was surprised I actually found this game entertaining. There's something about picking up kids and cooking their meat to the tune of the Honors March that is extremely satisfying and kept me hooked for an hour straight at one point. Also, the leaderboard that they added into the game makes me want to try to get my name on it, which I did. Right now, there's actually a contest involved with it, which is pretty interesting. The one thing I do have to give credit to this game for doing is how it teaches you to play the game. There really isn't a tutorial, and for the most part, you're kind of left on your own. However, there's these little signs at the start of the map and boxes on the side of the menu that give you little hints without beating you over the head with simple concepts. I got a hang of the game fairly quickly, and any questions I had were eventually answered through the hints of the game, which is nice compared to either nothing or a tutorial that really doesn't teach you much. While I had quite a bit of fun playing this game, it wasn't without its faults. The main downfall of this game is the upgrades. As you do more challenges, you unlock upgrades that you can buy with the meat that help you in turn get more meat. However, the rate at which you can buy these upgrades is faster than your actual need for more meat, caused by the price of the upgrades and the power of them. At the beginning, I was very weak, and the process of building up enough meat to get an edge on the daddies was rewarding. However, this game hits a point after the first few upgrades where you become too efficient at harvesting children to really need more upgrades. There was only a few times where I had to even play another round after unlocking an upgrade to get the more meat for it, because it was just so easy to get more meat. Towards the end, you can actually outrun the daddy's shots, and your biggest worry is the random rockets that pop up. Plus, the loot from the kids is usually enough to totally negate all the expenses that it took to pick them up. Really, the game ends when you get bored. It would be nice to see the daddy's shots to speed up or become more accurate, or even just have time or something decrease faster the longer you were alive, so that there was some force that worked equally against you. It felt like the game went backwards in difficulty the more you played it, instead of getting more challenging. With all the upgrades unlocked, everything was completely at my will. The other major issue with this game is the graphics. Art-wise, this game really works. The atmosphere and aesthetic that the developers created for this game was really fun, and combined with a great soundtrack, it made this game's premise a lot more lighthearted than any description of it would have painted it. However, the raw graphics have a problem. First off, I was really surprised at the resolution of this game. While the game wasn't jarring to look at, I would have liked a little bit more clarity. They spent a lot of time working on the theme of the game, and seeing it at its max potential would have been amazing. However, everything is a little hazy and feels dated. It looks like a port of a mobile game, to be honest. Also, this game performs bad for absolutely no reason. My computer isn't a bleeding edge gaming monster, but it handles most of what I throw at it extremely well. I can play the Battlefield games at a full 60 frames without a lot of issues, and this game rarely hits 60. While the dips aren't noticeable at first, once the game progresses on, the performance gets worse and worse. In the beginning, you zip around and everything looks smooth. However, after you get a few thousand pieces of meat, the game gets sluggier and sluggier until the point I actually had to quit. It looks like the game was running in slow motion for no obvious reason. I don't think slowing it down this much was part of the developers' plans, but once you hit around 5,000 to 7,000 children harvested, it gets hard to move around. Even with the graphics toggles set to so low, this game runs really slow. My hypothesis for these problems stems with the bones. When you pick up meat thrown up by the cauldron, little bones drop to the floor of the map with simulated physics. Most of the games are programmed so that when non-essential items hit a certain number of entities, the oldest ones will be removed from the game so that they don't slow down the rest of the game. Since I can see a few bones sticking around the top of the cauldron and the game's performance seems to slow down as more meat is eaten, I think either this game doesn't do this or has its limits set too high. Even turning the graphics down doesn't do anything, as it only changes the particle effects done by the daddy's guns, the rockets, and the cauldron. The graphics settings were another flaw with this game. There's a few preset graphics level and nothing can be customized. I know this game is pretty simple, but it would have been nice to at least had some sort of resolution changer or maybe some options with individual effects or something. These exist even in really simple games. I don't understand why they're not in this game. And all this game was alright. It's hard to define what constitutes a good game when judging games in the casual genre because so many of them are so simple. At its core, I felt that Cooking Witch is a pretty solid game. The theme is spot on, the gameplay is fun, and it kept me entertained. However, there were bits of the game that made it less enjoyable, but I didn't think they made the game an absolute pain to play. In the end, I think the game was good as far as $2 casual games on Steam goes, but it needs a lot more polish for it to be taken much more seriously than that. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and like the video. It really helps me out. If you want to see more casual game reviews or just game reviews in general, go ahead and subscribe to my channel.